Good morning, everybody. We're just stepped out of the courtroom, and we had a good morning this morning. Had the first witnesses that were brought up from the government, and we got Joshua here too. We'll get into what happened in court here in just a moment. But Joshua, he was arrested the other day down here, and he's back down here with us. He spent a couple of days in jail, and he got him bailed out. Tell us about your story.
Okay, well, I'm sure some of you saw, I was on the courthouse property. I was approached by Metro. They demanded to see my ID, or my date of birth, sorry. I refused because they couldn't provide a probable cause or a reasonable suspicion. So, of course, I'm preserving the Constitution. I refused. They took me to jail. I went to jail. They didn't allow me to speak my mind and represent myself. They had a complete stranger, a court-appointed attorney who I don't trust. I believe he's incompetent because he couldn't understand any laws that I was quoting. So they treated me like a child. Well, anyways, they raised my bail from $640 to $2,600 for obstruction charge. So my family, a couple of friends had to pay. I thank some of you that were calling and checking up on the bail status. But moving forward, they even after I got out, they are offering a deal of 146 days suspended. I have to stay away from the courthouse for 1 year, and that I believe that's the reason why they want that is because they don't want me to come back and file a lawsuit on Metro. That's what I think, but I'm not sure. So now that I'm out, I'm back here. I'm not going up on the steps because I want to tread lightly, but I'm here supporting everyone, and I want to thank everyone who are supporting me. But one thing I want to get clear is I will not stand down. I will always support our guys. They need our help. We're all putting a lot on the line. They're putting more. So I encourage all of you to come out and start standing. Don't be afraid. This sidewalk is open to all of us. And if you guys want, I'll keep updating. I got court March 7th is my trial. They're denying me a jury trial. I told them no, the Constitution guarantees me a jury trial, a jury of my peers. You and I told the judge, you and the state work for the same team. That's a conflict of interest. If we are going to play like that, let's move this trial, let's move this court to federal. If the state is claiming to be the victim, the judge cannot be working for the state or the city, representing both, because that's not I don't have a fair chance. I will be found guilty. If I'm found guilty, they will put me in jail for 146 days, which I'm sure they will. They've been throwing the book at me for exercising my Fourth Amendment right. That's what this is about. I'm standing up even if I know that I'm going to jail. This document, I don't have rights because this document says I have them. I have them because nobody's big and bad enough to come and take them from me. And if they try, I will still stand my ground and voice my opinion. I will voice my opinion when it comes to my rights. No one else will do that for me. No one else is going to do that for you. So I suggest that all of you guys start standing up, whether it's in the city council, in your church, your state legislators. Go after it. Go after it. Thank you, guys.
As you can see here, there's more injustice being done by taking away people's rights. Refusing him the right to a jury, saying it's a privilege, not a right. This is what we're seeing in Portland, Oregon with the guys there. They've got 7 misdemeanor charges after the felony charges that they're facing with the jury, and they're denying these guys rights to a jury over there in Portland, Oregon the same way. We're seeing this across the country. And Josh is just one of them. We're proud that he stood strong the other day, and we're supporting him strongly. We appreciate everybody that stepped in to try to help pay his bond, and he still needs our support. So thanks a lot, Josh. Appreciate it.
Thank you, man. Thank you all.
Here in court today, we brought two.
Hold it. Who's this? We know that guy.
Here. Look at this. We got Gavin down here. Come on here,
to John Lamb live. Come on down.
Come around here, Gavin.
This is where the party is, everybody.
We got Gavin down here today too.
You continue. I'm just listening.
Okay. So just real briefly, we had the defense or the prosecution. They brought up 2 witnesses today. An FBI agent that's a special agent. He does surveillance on the cameras in airplanes. He testified for about 2 hours. He pretty much didn't talk at all. They just He just testified to a surveillance video. It lasted for a couple hours. Then they brought in another EPA type agent, environmental agent guy from Denver, Colorado, and he was testifying on we didn't quite get it finished, but on the documents that they had served Cliven Bundy to remove these cows off the property. And that's kind of where we was at. The defense team's doing real good. Todd Engel did awesome re-questioning the FBI agent on the stand. He took probably longer than any of the other defense guys, and he had some real legit questions to ask, and he done professionally. I'm really honored to be in court when he's questioning them and talking. He does professionally and really good. We also had Stephen Stewart's attorney that asked a few questions, and Eric Parker's attorney. These guys are doing great. The defense team has it together, and I see this case just unraveling really quick here. The government is dragging their feet, and it's really boring so far, to put it simply. I don't really know what they showed us this morning, but except a still video that with no voice. But things are going real good. I'm going to be going to Portland here this afternoon, so you're going to have to look to a bunch of these guys here to keep reporting down here. And as they tell me over in Portland, I'll keep telling you what's happening here also. But Skipper and Joshua and Doug and Brother David here, Lehman, check their live streams out. They're going to be doing this the rest of the week. Let's let Gavin say some things here.
I think you covered it. The only thing I would add is point these cameras around and show them how many people are here. And there's not a lot. There's not a lot. But listen, guys, we need you down here on the ground. Everybody that shows up, don't sit behind a keyboard. Find somewhere to get down on the ground. And you look at what Josh did last week, standing up down here and getting arrested. You look at what John's doing, and all these people down here are doing, keeping the cameras rolling, keeping things moving. The corruption has to be exposed. We can't be divided on faction. I'm with this little group, and I'm with that little group. This is all the same message.
Exactly.
And so whether it's Josh being arrested, or whether it's the Bundys being arrested, or Pete Santilli, or Jerry DeLumis, or whether it's protesters at some other protest down the road, the rule of law is not in these courts. Look at this. Look at the size of this court building. This is a monument to treason. They're laughing at us, you guys. They're looking at us and they're laughing at us and saying, look, we're going to do whatever we want. Well, no, you're not, because there's going to be an accounting. There's going to be justice. We need boots on the ground. We need to get together, and we need to be standing on the same message. We don't have to agree on everything. There's some people that don't like Gavin. There's some people that don't like, well, no, everybody likes John. But there's some people that don't like Skipper. But look, we got people here. There's people. And you know what does my heart good is seeing all these cameras on. Because if we point cameras, look at Josh last week. Guys, they took Josh behind the building and started beating him up. And then all the cameras, then the cavalry arrived and all the cameras came around. Was it you that had the camera on down there?
Not down there.
It's Skipper did? Awesome. And so you get those cameras out, you get the narrative out. People get angry sometimes because they're like, hey, stop getting in their face. Stop dealing with the cops on the street. Go to the top. You can't go to the top. Look what happens when we go to the top. They control the narrative. It's the troops on the street, the order followers. It's the officers who are complicit in saying, yes, for a paycheck, I will enforce treason. It doesn't matter how nice of guys they seem. We have to recognize that we've got to stand up right here, toe-to-toe, on the street to the tyranny. That's how we get it done. You've got to get out here, and you got to stand. Anything else, John? I'll give it back to John.
This is how I learned how to talk right here. I watched his videos, his live streams. So thanks a lot,
Hey,
Gavin.
thanks for
It's
being down
awesome.
here. We'll probably
Yes.
see you in Oregon, but
Just real quickly, explain what this means.
look at this. What do we got here? That's right. For if our Constitution is to survive, it must be protected from all enemies, whatever it takes. Now listen, ask yourself the question. Here they come. They're going to call me a cop hater. Who is it every single time, universally, who's attacking our Constitution? Is it the politician? Is it the judiciary? Well, yes, they do it some too. But who's guarding the courtrooms as we're carried in chains? Who's guarding the jails? Who's arresting us on the side of the road? Guys, when I got down here, I parked 2 blocks away, and within 3 minutes, as I'm unloading my family, the feds are lurking behind me, walking around my car, trying to intimidate my family. It doesn't matter how nice the enemy may seem. We gotta love them. We got to be kind. We got to be principled. But we need to recognize that those attacking our liberty and our children's birthright in the Constitution, we have to resist them with principle. We're never the lynch mob, but we have to stand up to them.
Exactly. Well said.
How do we find the body cam of the video?
Oh, yeah. So I forgot about that. Did you see that yet?
I haven't.
So last night, yesterday, I got somebody anonymously released this video, all these body cams from the BLM, and you're gonna have to check it out.
I did get that.
Okay, and it's really good stuff. I don't know where this stuff came from. I wish we could get more of it, and maybe we will, but there's body cams, guys, at the BLM talking about shooting people. There's body cams of when they were beating up Dave Bundy. The only terrorists at Bundy Ranch were the federal government, and that's a fact. That's the only terrorists. Those were the only ones using threats, intimidation, coercion, lawlessness, corruption. We see it all over this nation. Get that video out. I think it's on the Bundy Ranch page. John may have shared
Skipper's
it.
page.
Skipper's page. I know it's on Gavin Sign for Liberty.
Doug's page.
So yeah, just get it out, reshare it, do whatever you need to do, but look at that information because it shows the truth. I know we know the truth, but we need to educate our neighbors and love our neighbors and show them the truth. We need to realize that we're all united against the same enemy.
And we've heard about Senator Harry Reid being involved in this land grab. What do you know about that?
To me, it's clear. I mean, the treason goes so deep, guys. And you think about this: we elect people to represent us. Let me be candid. The representatives should be doing what John and I and Joshua and all these people out there. The representatives should be the ones going to the courtrooms and saying, "Who do you think you are?" Your sheriffs should be the ones dragging the judges from the bench and saying, "This is not going to happen. We have due process in our county." But what do you got? You got Harry Reid. You got people making backroom deals. You got whores selling your children's liberty and their birthright for a paycheck, for power, and for position. And it's not going to stop by electing more politicians. It's not going to be fixed. It's not going to be fixed by a new president or a new congressman. You have to stand up. That's where it's at.
One thing we've seen where Cliven Bundy in court today had been sending letters since 1982. 1982, he started sending letters to the, like a redress of grievance to the federal government. They've been ignoring him since 1982.
Yeah.
The only thing they did was remove him from his property. So every letter that he sent, these letters were brought up today that he'd been writing these letters, and judges just overruled it. They denied his appeals and still ordered him off the ground and took his trying to take his cows away from him. So this injustice we've been seeing all along. The government's been refusing to, ignoring us.
Well, and this is the thing, they've blinded us too with this idea of freedom means the people in uniform. Freedom means people with a badge, safety. They've convinced America, the justice system, the officers from all branches have convinced America that they're the barrier between order and chaos. Guys, they are the chaos. The person who's declared war on you, start asking the tough questions. Who is it that's killing us on the street right here in America by the thousands? Is it ISIS, which our government created? Or is it our own officers who are supposed to be protecting us from that very thing? They're waging war on us. And the Founding Fathers recognized this. It wasn't that the Founding Fathers hated the Redcoats. It wasn't that they hated, I'm sure, was the news media out there in 1774 saying, "Oh, you guys just hate the British"? They were British. They weren't Americans. And so it's not about hating anyone. At some point, the Founding Fathers said, we've tried to redress and redress and redress, and they keep violating us. They keep taking away our due process. Do you know the stuff we went to war for, guys? It's things like Josh just talked about. We went to war because they denied us our trials. We went to war because they stole our land and forfeited our assets without due process. We said enough is enough. And you know what? It wasn't the politicians that we had to stand up to. We didn't all run across the ocean and send a nice letter to the king. We went on the street to the Redcoats and we said, this stops. This stops. And we stopped it. And so the sooner we stand up and stop it, the more peaceful it can be. Josh, do you have anything to add to this?
No, I mean, just like you're saying, they're taking rights away. They're infringing on that. But the biggest problem is that we all don't accept the responsibilities that come with rights. We're allowing government to determine how responsible and how safe we are. With rights come responsibility, guys. So you guys got to start taking hold of that. Accept the responsibilities that come with rights, because you can't have one without the other. Okay? So please, truly embrace that. Run with it.
Exactly. John, a question for you. They were showing drone footage or plane footage.
It was plane footage. So there was an FBI agent that was flying the plane, and then there was an FBI agent that was on the stand that was testifying on what he took. He was the camera guy. Sometimes he flies, but this particular day, he was actually flying the airplane and taking the camera footage. And he was being guided where to take footage by a command center on the ground.
Hey, John?
Yes.
I would
Anthony.
I would add that footage today from that airplane completely supports the narrative that our guys have put forth from the beginning.
Absolutely.
The government has always contended that this was a massive armed violent assault, and what they showed from that video today was a group of protesters slowly moving into that wash. And the U.S. attorneys went back twice and asked the FBI agent, have the number of government vehicles increased? And the man had to answer no. And if it was an armed, massive, violent assault, as the government has contended in all of its motions, it would make sense that they would have assaulted that position right there when there was nobody there. But that didn't happen, and the video evidence shows that today. This, from start to finish, was nothing but a protest. And I think what we're going to find out is that the man from Burning Man, we now know to be Daniel P. Love, I think we're going to find out in the next few weeks that that man single-handedly escalated this from a peaceful protest into a tense standoff. Not the men that we have in court today, not the Bundys, and not the mid-level organizers. It was a protest start to finish, and I think that that video that they showed today absolutely supports that narrative that they've been saying for a year since they were arrested.
He's exactly right.
Woo!
So,
Anthony came all the way from Idaho. So.
Idaho, Joe from...
yeah, where can they find you at? You run the blog, right?
BundyRanchStandoff.info, not .com, it's .info, BundyRanchStandoff.info. We've been doing some narrative control there. The government has been very generous in their embellished narrative to give us material on almost a daily basis.
He's the one that bailed me out. This is the guy.
Good job.
Thanks for coming.
That's the thing. It's about getting down there, right, and supporting. It's about showing up. It's about getting the message out. I mean, don't get me wrong. We share on Facebook and we comment and interaction on things like that when you can't be on the ground. But don't think that's going to be enough. Can John do like a Smokey the Bear pose or something? Only you can stop the tyranny.
Only you.
right there.
So, and you know what? Look at this down here. We got kids down here. We got my wife over there. Liberty's a family affair, guys. It's not something. It's not something that that you ignore to your kids. Liberty's something you teach to your children, not hide away on dusty shelves. You hold it up in front of you every day of your life, and you do that not in words, but in deeds. Words are easy. Actions are hard. But that's what the Bundys did. That's what our prisoners in here did. That's what protesters are doing all over America. Even if you don't always agree with their every position, instead of turning against them, unite against the common enemy and help encourage them to do better, encourage them to carry the message. If you have a disagreement with how the protest group from the other side of the faction is, then go down there and talk to them and realize they're human beings and that they're sick of being abused too, and come together as one. That's what the Founding Fathers had to do. It took them a generation. It took the Founding Fathers a generation to get to the point where they could come together enough to unite as one.
Absolutely.
You cannot have all this broken up factions. It can't be Democrat against Republican. It can't be Black Lives Matter against 3%. We've got to come together. We've got to show up.
Absolutely. Speaking of coming together, what do we got going on up in Oregon?
Well, look what everybody's missing out on. All this fun we're having down here, supporting these political prisoners and these guys in jail. Tomorrow we have court again here. Also, this afternoon we still got to finish out today. But tomorrow, back here at 8 o'clock, it looks like. Portland, Oregon, tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. I will be over in Portland tomorrow. All these people here will still be here supporting these guys. So that's the two next things coming up is tomorrow morning here and Portland tomorrow morning. I got to make a plane here shortly, so I got to leave.
We'll probably see you back home.
A word to Anthony. It wasn't the